Hey everybody, it's Tom, and I just wanted to come to you this week to talk about Albert Einstein's article, Why Socialism? It was originally published in May of 1949 in the inaugural issue of the Monthly Review, and really stands as a remarkably lucid articulation of some of the major points which are associated with the consideration of socialism broadly. And actually tweeted it a little bit ago, and it got some traffic. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of what it was about the piece that I personally found impressive. The first thing which I thought was great was the manner in which, in the opening section, Einstein points out quite acutely that the suggestion of economics, that it has provided a scientific account of how human beings interact, really is an incredibly inadequate one, in virtue of the fact that even the phenomena which are strictly under the auspices of economic consideration themselves emerge not from economic causation or causality. That behind the emergence of these matters, financial or otherwise, that are the bailiwick or the province of the economist, are all sorts of historical and even extra historical factors that are outside of the categories in which he is accustomed to traffic. And this really is an accident. In fact, it's actually crucial that this circumstance remains almost latent or concealed, so that the narrative that we inherit from economics goes unchallenged. And that's a point which is made more explicitly by Marx, vis-a-vis his doctrine, if you like, of the fetishization of the commodity, and also by other people, such as sort of closer to the present day, someone like Andre Gortz, whose critique of economic rationality, maybe critique of economic thinking, I think his critique of economic rationality goes a long way to exploring this very point. But right from the outset, Einstein sets this up as a way of forestalling the idea that socialism is simply an economic philosophy. In fact, it's something far more profound than an economic philosophy, because his point is not to be economic, but rather to derive its objectives from a sense of social ethical orientation. That means it is above an economic framework, and in fact, insofar as we have economic frameworks, it seeks to subordinate them to those higher ends. In this respect, the idea that socialism was something which tries to save capitalism falls flat on its face, because it inverts the means and the ends there. Also, in connection with this idea that socialism is a social and ethical orientation, we have the question of his relationship with science and scientific narratives. And this, I thought, was another august moment in the essay, because Einstein quite expertly remarks that science, at best, can provide us with certain means or an understanding of, say, the mechanism of nature in a useful fashion, which can serve other ends, but in itself is bereft of the capacity to grant us moral compass, to grant us answers to ethical and social dilemma. And as such, we must and should be wary of stories or narratives or claims that try and couch the resolution of those dilemmas in strictly scientific terms. Because oftentimes when that's happening, you just have another variety of the species we already mentioned, with economic narratives being used to conceal underlying factors, underlying social relations. Scientific vocabulary is often used to obscure or cloud what the question at hand really is. And so again, we have this sense that socialism is a more than merely instrumental commitment. The final moment that I'm going to mention in the text is the one at which we arrive upon its conclusion, and that's where Einstein acknowledges that the challenge for socialism is to resolve issues such as that of inequity in a manner which does not fall into the trap that you could say in many respects ensnared the Soviet Union, where bureaucratic totalism ultimately annulled or voided or at least greatly mitigated what was virtuous about the original commitments of the Russian Revolution and other revolutions as well. In other words, the idea is not just to have a society which gives rise to equity and freedom materially, but also politically and spiritually. And so as a result, we have a far more challenging set of questions in front of us than we might want to acknowledge. And this lattermost connection, I think, just to throw another name out there in conclusion, and I talked about him in another video, and I'm going to do another one on his politics of libertarian municipalism, is Murray Bookchin, who makes this distinction between the notion of the polis and politics and the state and statecraft. And we labor largely under the latter, where in fact the state serves to void genuine political engagement by constraining and subjugating the populace at large. I think that ferreting out that distinction is crucial to the dilemma that Einstein outlines at the conclusion of Why Socialism, and we'll revisit him in our next video. But all that, I just wanted to throw some remarks out there about the Einstein piece, and the link will be below in the description. Hopefully I've whetted your appetite to go visit it yourself in the monthly review as well. Alright guys, that's all. This has been Tom, and thanks for listening.